This is
about a girl, her name is Aeve. Some call her Aeve. This is a story about a girl and she's part of the plan of God. And nothing can ever separate her from it. She's got bravery. She's not afraid. She's not afraid of what people think. And nothing her story is a great one. You will.
Now that we talked about authority and where the law comes from, and modern world is incorrect, and they are not established by God, they're established by Babylon. We will look about the dew and the frost, a very special part of the Bible where it talks,
For example,
about it.
what is the great thing that God says? That He is saying that He is both man and woman. And if you want to find that, we can find it in one verse, in one chapter, people. And that is in Job. In the book of Job, there is a verse that he's explaining that it is part of God's character, that He is both man and woman. People don't realize, and people always say that God uses women to explain part of His character, so man can understand part of Him. And sometimes woman explains and uses man to explain his character, so woman can understand part of him. He says in Job chapter 38 verse 28, does the rain have a father? Who fathers the drops of dew? Verse 29, from whose womb comes the ice? Who gives birth to the frost from heavens? They all come from God. They're all part of the character of God. Here, even though it's poetry, and some people will ask what's the dew and how from birth from the womb, it is explaining that those are His characteristic. And God is both the father of the dew and He gives birth from the womb, are His character. And they're gifts that God has given to man and to woman. Those are the things that God says that He is part of, and it's part of His character. What are the things that God uses in the Bible that using women or feminism that represents Him? We have in the verses of the Bible that explains that what is the character of God and the things that says that He is. We will see in the Bible that represents God. For example, thunder in Psalms 25 verse 3 and Psalm 68 verse 3, God uses thunder to explain His voice. For example, fire, God uses Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 24. He is a consuming fire, people. And rock, in Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 4, Samuel chapter 22 verse 23, 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 4 through 8, and there are more. He explains that He is the rock, and by the rock people are holding to Him. In the Old Testament He uses many times that He is a rock, and in the New Testament by using Jesus He says He is the rock. People, these three verses that explain the nature of God as a rock show parts of characters of Him. And besides the rock, the fire, and thunder, He has other. He also uses the shield, and arrow, and hammer. And even people don't know, man uses them because there are things that God wanted man to copy, to emulate. Things that God uses that represents Him. Things God uses to represent Him, but man uses. The arrows, Psalm 38 verse 2, Psalm 120 verse 4. The shield, Psalm 3 verse 3, Psalm 28 verse 7. The hammer, Jeremiah 23 verse 29, and more. These are the things he uses that man uses. Now that we've seen it, what are the things that God uses that belong to women? We start with Hosea chapter 11 verse 3 through 4. God described as a mother. Hosea chapter 13 verse 8. God described as a hen. Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 11. God as a mother eagle. Isaiah chapter 66 verse 13. As a comforting mother. Isaiah chapter 49 verse 15 compared to a nursing mother. Isaiah chapter 42 verse 14. God is a woman in labor. Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 18. God also gives birth. Psalm chapter 13 verse 2. God as a mother. Psalm chapter 123 verse 2 through 3. God as a woman. Matthew chapter 23 verse 32. And Luke chapter 13 verse 34. God as a mother hen. Luke chapter 11 verse 8 to 10. God is a woman looking for her lost cousin. These are the things that God says that are part of him. It says he's a woman, wants women to be that part. They are all part of the character of God. So we can see people, God used the hen, God used the bear, God used the eagle, God used a woman to explain parts of his character. And man and woman are made of God. They do not have the authority God has, but they have God's love. And that's one of the most important things men and women don't know they have.
Oh wow! Did God say all those things in the Bible? Can't believe he used the word mother to describe him. He used the word mother bear and also the mother eagle. He used mother as a word to describe him, to describe a characteristic of himself, to describe part of his character using those words. There are things of the woman inside the Bible. And I just realized those woman parts are part of the character of God. They're part of Him. He created the universe. He created this planet. And He put those part of His creation, part of Him. And He used them to explain part of what He does. And they're part of Him. Now I see there are more things in the Bible that God uses. And uses woman inside the Bible. Now I'm more interested to know those secret things. Now I see there are more things that I didn't know. Oh, this is great. I didn't know any of these things. I see there are more things that are there inside the Bible that are hidden. Oh, I'm thankful to find them.
See that about this is why it's important. People don't know. God used the bear. God used the mother eagle. God used a woman. God used a man. God used fire. And he said this in the Bible to explain part of his character, part of himself. So people know that those things are him. They are all part of him. It is what he made to create things in this universe, in this planet. He gave those animals, gave those people, gave the rock, gave that element of fire. And we are made of fire by him. That is why God said neshama, a word of Hebrew, explaining about the soul, the spirit, the breath of life. God used it as an example. It is important. And this is the thing that God wanted us to know about Him. That He used a fire, He used a woman, He used a man, He used a bear, He used an eagle to explain what He will do, what He does. And it's part of Him that He used these things that are part of His character. And He put them on this planet because He wanted us to know that we use them too, that we are part of it. And it's our special thing that we have with Him that God wanted us to talk about, to know about those things. Even though I don't have a hard time about God using a woman as a mother, and that He uses those words and persons to explain part of His character. I see that He has a purpose and He has a reason why He used it. There is a secret in all of this. There is a secret that God has for man inside the Bible. There's a secret what God has for woman inside the Bible. And He explained these things so we can find the real things in the Bible and know that He has a side that He wants us to know. And the side of man is for man, and the side of woman is for woman. But God is the one who gave us those things. And He wants us to find out. We have seen so many good things. We are seeing that God uses the word mother, and uses mother bear and also a mother eagle to use it to tell about His character and the things He created. It shows that it is made of Him, and it's very important that we know that He uses those words. We have seen that God uses that. We've seen about many important things, and there's more things that we're gonna know. And we're gonna find secrets that God does in the Bible that uses women, and it's in the Bible. We'll go to the restaurant. We'll go see other places.
After we had the discussion, I told Aeve and Bertz and Melissa about a time that Troya was talking and saw things on the street. And he was saying hi to Sarge and the others, and about they were talking about true love, about the AI, and about Save by Efforts.
Doctor, I was talking to Beyond 80. I was wondering, do you think there's true love?
But it doesn't exist. I'm from Boston, and scientists we know that God doesn't exist. True love doesn't exist. Those things aren't real. Anyway, if some preacher says something to pastor, they don't know anything. They believe in a God that cannot be seen. None of it's true.
Well, true love comes from God because He created love. The soldiers need to know, but, well, maybe it doesn't make a difference.
Oh, how did you're not sure about save by no efforts? I don't believe in it. I mean, if you're saved, it's by God or by Jesus, but I'm not sure about that. I don't believe you're saved by your efforts, but after everything, I'm not sure. You know, people, war, and all that, I'm not sure people are saved. Saved by our efforts? I already have that conversation. I'm not sure if we're saved because you're saved by Jesus Christ. But if your works save you or your works don't save it, you just need efforts or else you can't be saved if you don't have efforts. Well, I'm not sure. We've seen that they talked about true love and the efforts. Now, we'll just look, a joke. One day, Troya was talking me about how great the German Funtal team is. I told him they are great. They won many stars. But you know what? There will always be another team that is better than the other. And German, they're good, but their greatest opponent is always the Italians, the blue team. They're the best. But someone even more powerful than them are the Brazilians. And they are still one of the greatest teams out there. Afterwards, Aeve went with his father. They were going to the mall to buy some things. And they wanted to talk.
Dad, I want to ask you something. Did you know that the law of the Ten Commandments and the Mitzvah 613 are directed to Jews and not directed to Gentiles?
Avi, what you just told me about the law, I just didn't know anything about that. Back in our time, we didn't know any of those things. We just thought everything, it was talking about us altogether. You know, Back in the 70s, we don't know anything about that. We didn't care. And you're telling me now about that, about, the Jews were, addressed the law, the Ten Commandments, and the 613 mitzvahs. I don't even know what the mitzvahs are. But it's good to know, Evie, because there's an error we have, and people just people just don't know anything about those things. Let's go home, baby.
Did you know then? Then why didn't you do anything? Oh, I see. Okay, Dad.